Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, a member of the Pod Bros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com and find yourself another podcast you want to listen to. And check out our sponsors, Trap and Roll Soap Company and Tape Armor, and find all of our old episodes at bjjshow.com. I'm Rob.
I'm Devon.
And it is cold as shit out here today. I just got back from PT. It's 23 degrees outside.
Oh shit, dude! I'm a California bitch because I was like, oh my god, it's like under 60. You're over there. You're like legit cold. I'm like California cold.
Well, I was thinking about because Thanksgiving happened last week, and I was like, as I was outside grilling the turkey, I'm like, this isn't too bad for Germany. It's in the upper 40s because in Arizona I was like outside in shorts and a t-shirt and flip flops grilling a turkey. No problem because it was in the fucking 80s, so that was cold, but now I'm just I walk outside and I've never just cursed at weather in my life. I just walk outside and just yell fuck at the top of my lungs if I could, but
Is it snowing already?
no, there's no snow yet. It makes if it was snow it'd be even better, but the fact is that it's just cold for the sake of being cold pisses me off really bad. And the thing they'll know, because we get up early in the morning for PT, so I have to be out there at like 6:15, which is kind of sleeping in compared to like some of the other places I've been. But still, like what they'll never tell you, like for they'll never tell the privates because the sergeants are always like, "Come on, let's go do PT." That we wake up and we're just like, "Fuck this!" Like I don't want to do this, but we have to put on the game face when we get out there. Fuck
Yeah. That'd be fucking terrible. It's gonna start snowing soon though, right?
I hope so.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, they said, well, last year was a really mild winter. They had like maybe one or two snows, but it didn't like one or two snows. The fuck is that? It snowed once or twice. I need a cup of coffee, but it snowed once or twice. And then like, there's one I actually I used to run a Saturday morning class that like 2 people came to, and we readjusted and of course more people came, but I woke up one morning and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I couldn't even get my car out of the parking lot of our apartment building because it was so iced over. So I just canceled class. I was like, it was one day. That was the only bad day we had of a fucking snow. So, but soon enough, I think it should start up. But you guys are out there enjoying your fucking 60-degree weather. I'm so angry.
You know what's funny is like as a kid growing up, you always wish like in California, like, oh, I wish it would snow, and then you go somewhere where there's snow, and you're like, this is cool for like a day, and after that, you're like, I'm so glad it does not snow. You're like, it's cool when you're a kid to think about you could have a snow day potentially in certain places, but then you get older, you're like, oh, fuck that. Like, imagine not being able to drive your car anywhere, being stuck at your house. I'd go crazy.
Yeah, it does get pretty bad. So, you can do the whole like not train for a few days thing. Since we're a jiu-jitsu podcast, we can talk about how crazy that would be. But at the same time, then you start getting cabin fever. So I remember as a kid, we got snowed in real bad because where I was in North Carolina, we didn't get snow a lot. And I remember we had like a really bad quote unquote snow. So I was stuck in the house for like 5 days straight, and I about lost my fucking mind because couldn't really do anything. You just kind of existed in there. Played Pokemon a few times, but I was stuck inside for 5 days straight from snow, and it was just, even as a kid, I'm like, this shit sucks. Like, I want to go to school.
When you guys train over there,
Yeah.
like when it gets cold, does it get more hot? Like, okay, so for like the gym that we're at, when we train in the winter, I swear it feels more humid in the winter than it does the summer when we get going.
Yeah, because it's like that whole effect of like, you get the walls to sweat and the windows fog up real bad.
Yeah.
But the thing is, where we have class, the building is so big, it has like its own heating system. So pretty much, for those of you who don't know, like where I teach, it's a giant warehouse. It used to be a warehouse. Like there's still shit in there from the warehouse, but they converted it into like a functional fitness area. So there's a giant CrossFit area. There's a boxing ring, 3 wrestling mats. Like it's pretty awesome, but it has its own central heating system. However, it's still like just muggy as shit in there. If you get a big group of people like if you have the CrossFit class and like the boxing class going on, and then us, and then other people around doing their own shit, it does get pretty muggy in there, and it feels worse than like in the summer when it's just you deal with it because it's just hot as shit because it's hot as shit outside.
I always laugh because my friends don't, like people that don't train don't understand. Like, because they ask that too. Like, I've had friends that have come at the end of class and they're like, "Man, this gym is so hot and muggy." They're like, "Why do you like keep doing rounds if it's like that?" I'm like, honestly, it sounds funny, but it almost feels better to roll because you're so low to the ground. You're almost like under the musk. You know what I mean? Like, it's still hot, but when you're rolling around, it's like a fire. You're like completely under all the smoke kind
Yeah,
of
I
thing.
was about to say that shit. Yeah. It's like all that shit they teach you as a kid. Well, as an adult, you probably should know that too. That if there's a fire, you don't just run right through it. You fucking get in the ground and crawl. But yeah, no, it just and then like if you stop, it's even worse because then you start if there's no heating system. So I've been to some gyms too where it's you're you're freezing your ass off when it's in the winter and you're sweating your ass off as well when it's in the summer. But I haven't been to I've been to a couple that actually had like a really nice heating and cooling system that I would like to one day when I'm a gym owner I'd like to have that as well. And I think that was something like we had discussed we wanted to talk about before the show was we want to really kind of touch on jujitsu as a business because I don't think that's something we've really ever talked about was like running
No, not at
schools and
all.
stuff.
Yeah. I think that I think there's, to be honest, it's funny. I think that like if you like do jujitsu, I think like your like long-term goal, a lot of these people should be to like obviously like have their own gym, but I think a lot of people think of that as like a secondary. They're like, I'll just do it one day. But really, man, there's so much money to be made for that. Look at those people that have all the karate associations. They're like literally that's like millions and millions of dollars. There's no reason why jujitsu couldn't be the same thing.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, my experiences came from, I taught Taekwondo for shit longer than I've been doing jujitsu. And, I joined the army right after. I went from teaching Taekwondo to that. And, there's some very nice schools. The one I taught at was a really nice school. Great mats, it was clean all the time and stuff. It just, what I think some people want to do is it's romanticized almost. That like I own a jujitsu gym or I own a martial arts school and it's really cool, but then you look at it and you're like, fuck, the walls look like shit or, like I need to mop the mats every day. That's like the not cool part everybody forgets about. Like, where does all this shit
Yeah.
come from that you're like, oh, hey, here's this gi. You can wear this gi, right? Or we have a gi for sale. Well, where does it come from? You got to make sure they have orders or people order stuff. You have to make sure that it gets ordered, clean the mats, do the, paperwork, get new members. It's just not. It is not Field of Dreams. You will build it and they will come. It does not fucking work that way, like
Yeah,
at
yeah,
all.
yeah. I think a lot of people get confused like that too. Like they kind of think that like, oh, we have a jujitsu gym. Exactly like you said, like it's not, they're not, you're not going to open and they're just going to come. Some people like, it's hard because we, like all of us love jujitsu so much that we forget that like not everyone's going to love it like that off the bat. Especially like if someone decides to stick around for that first few weeks, they're probably not going to like it as much as they thought they would initially.
Yeah,
So like the average person off the street, when you open up a gym, they say jujitsu. Like there's so many stereotypes off the top of their head. They're like, oh, that's an MMA gym, or oh, that's a karate gym, or even if they go in on the first day and they might be like a timid character, or they see everyone rolling, they might see two beasts going at it. You know what I mean? There's so many different variables that where it's like just off the bat, your business gets looked at, and you're like, it's completely like judging. You know what I mean? And not a bad judging. That's just someone being a consumer, but there's a lot that goes into it, regardless of people thinking. It's like this. Like I think what I want to get at is that like someone like Edwin Najmi, for example, that guy's a beast. He's young. He's a really popular black belt name right now. But if Edwin Najmi goes and opens up a gym, he might get a good amount of members for people that do jiu-jitsu already, but the average person on the street is not going to know or care
exactly.
who Edwin Najmi is.
Yeah, that's something a lot of people don't realize is that right now, let's say like not even top like high name people in the UFC. Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor. You can say they open up a gym; they're already a household name. So it's going to be like easy for people. Like, oh shit, Conor McGregor opened up a gym a block down the street. I've never done MMA, but I know who Conor McGregor is. Now, like translate that into like I don't know. We'll say Daniel Luazo or David Luazo, if you know that old school name.
Yeah, I remember his head kick. Who did he kick in the head knockout really quick? Anyways, keep going, keep
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
keep going.
So, so if David Lazo opens up a gym, and you and I know the guy's fucking disgusting at MMA, and people are gonna be like, "Who the fuck is David Lazo?" He's like, is he in relation to Conor McGregor? Like, Like nobody's gonna know. So you can't just like. I don't think you can open up a school on merit alone. Like you have to be. You got to be out there. You got to meet people. And I think the biggest flaw or the biggest thing that a lot of people, especially from my experience, is either running a gym or working or like visiting gyms is customer service. And customer service is like the biggest fucking issue, I think, in a lot of gyms. And there was a good article that got put out, and I'm gonna find it while I'll let you say your piece because I do listen to. Don't worry, but it's very interesting if you add the two things together. And pretty much the article was asking if jiu-jitsu or Brazilian jiu-jitsu is a cult, and that was kind of like an interesting way to look at it. Let me find it, but 12 warning sign is Brazilian jiu-jitsu a cult? Yeah, it was from jiu-jitsubrotherhood.com. It was written by a guy named Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
And it was talking about the guy who was like all the psychopath. It was talking about the dude who self-promoted himself to brown belt. Good job.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, really great. Blah, blah, blah. But pretty much it was like, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is a cult. There's no denying it. But is it like a bad cult or is it a good cult? So there's to me, there's a fine line between being a good, like the end story of the day. And I think I talked about this with Jason Scully, was that we're all grown men and women, right? We are paying somebody to teach us jiu-jitsu. If it doesn't work out, then we shouldn't be shamed to be like, well, I came here for you to teach me jiu-jitsu, not, tell me fucking stories instead of teaching class, like,
Yeah.
or being a douchebag or whatever. Like, I came here for a service. I'm giving you money. I did not sign some blood oath on the fucking paper. But to me, like, that's the biggest thing. Like, you can't treat everybody like this is a fight house or that we are in, the the early late 90s where just like people beating the shit out of each other. If you go to a gym that taught Muay Thai or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or whatever, dude, you're in for a rough time. Like, you had to really, really want to do it. And then, like, even people would still drop out. There's still, like, a really high dropout rate from those places at those times.
I like that you said that specifically. You went that direction with it because I kind of think about this a lot, and it's not that I'm like against like the term martial arts because obviously like there's like that's like basically self-improvement's the key of everything, right? That's what part of being a man, or I guess a human being, is about, right? Just self-improvement in your whole life. But I do think that the way certain gyms approach it, sometimes it's kind of as bad as it is to say. Sometimes that term is kind of obsolete in regards to the business. You have to almost sell the gym as an environment where you're like, okay, this is almost the way sport teams do. They don't sell soccer to your 7-year-old or 8-year-old. They sell this is a team. You're going to learn teamwork. You're going to learn like how to work hard, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? All the stuff that would be like transfer over into real life, like, reality or like their normal life. Whereas like sometimes martial arts, that term kind of throws people off a little bit if they're not involved in that community,
Yeah.
Before that. And I think some of those gyms, like, not that it's like, I don't know, hindering the growth of their business or whatever, but I think that there's more progressive ways you can approach it if you just make it a little bit more modern, I should say. You know what I mean? Something
Yeah.
because if someone comes up to you and say martial arts, you automatically think old karate from like the 70s and shit like that.
I still do. Like, I really do. Now there is something to be said about schools that do have some tradition. I will say that. I'm not talking people who bow in the beginning and end of class, line up, wear the same uniform. That's the way you want to run your gym. That's the way you want to run your gym. However, if it turns into, not going to point out any gym names, but if you have your students trimming your nails for you and like you're just straight up, yeah, at a tournament, this person not to be named was having like his student trim his nails for him, and like you're straight up just like, hey, you're my student. You want to be a gold medalist, and allegedly you do this. You just like, look, you want to be a good jiu-jitsu student? We gotta fuck. We gotta fuck real hard all the time, right? No. That's the creepy shit that goes on. But what's funny is it's not just in jiu-jitsu. There are other schools like that too, like just straight up creep shows fucking running the place, and it's an excuse to like pull your junk out and just like, how bad you want that red belt? Here it is. I'm the teacher. You are the student. This is like I've read this shit in the Book of the Five Rings. It's supposed to happen. Just let it happen. Like it's fucking. I can't stand that shit, man. And that's
It's
why.
like, Coach, how is she a blue belt? Wasn't she a white? Didn't she just sign up last month? The
Yeah.
fuck, Coach? Like,
And he just gives it real. Yeah. Then it's time to get the fuck out of that school, man, because you don't want your blue belt. You don't want your blue belt in that place. Well, I mean, it was like, what was it? Chris and John on Jiu Jitsu After Dark talked about being a brown belt, you need a butt plug or something. And I think I sent Chris a message. I was like, I never want to be a fucking brown belt ever, like ever. But
I'll keep my purple
yeah,
forever.
I'll be a purple belt forever. I'm cool with that, man. But it's a customer service thing, man, and you're gonna attract. And the other thing too is like you got to realize martial arts, the people who come into jiu-jitsu gyms, how many of them want to be fighters? Like you're like just I don't know. I don't have a statistic. I'm just
Oh,
asking.
it has to be like in like real time after they figure it out. They start training.
Yeah,
Less than 1%.
exactly.
Less than 1%.
Everybody else just wants something else, and that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Like I know that the place I run right now, I'm not there to create the next fucking Wiesbaden top team,
Bruschetta.
yeah, or whatever, man. Like maybe they are, maybe they aren't, and I can only give them all my knowledge. That's all I can give them. As much as I got to give it to them. I'm not going to hide it from them, but it's like you have to cater to the people who are there for the other reasons in fighting as well. You can have a whole bunch of medalists, but remember, there's still like, who knows? This woman could be coming in for self defense because she got attacked once, and she's just not. You're not on, she's not on the level with you where she wants to disclose that, but she's there learning self defense because somebody attacked her and she's not feeling safe, or some dude, like big surprise, I got bullied in middle school, big nerdy dude, surprise, yeah, fucking got bullied. But that big crazy guy could be like, I want this to keep myself safe, maybe learn some confidence. So I think you need to, as a coach, you need to really be in tune with like what a lot of your students are doing or what they're there for. And that's why like you need to make that connection with these people. You can't just be like, all right, we're gonna do arm bars. All right, Jim, you're up first. My name's Billy. He's like, whatever, Jim. Just get up here and can't be that guy, man.
I think that at the same, I think too, I agree with 100%. And I think to add to it, I think that when people go into it, like obviously, like you're not going to open up a jiu-jitsu gym unless you have a passion for jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're one of those fake black belts or whatever, that's bullshit. But you're not going to open up a gym unless you got passion for jiu-jitsu. And I think that you got to keep that passion, but still have like the business sense to know that like you need to run it like a business, because if you don't, you might end up hating jiu-jitsu because it's going
Yep.
to be the downfall of you losing money, you losing your time, and then you're going to blame jiu-jitsu for all of your mistakes that really have nothing to do with it. They're just common business stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that is actually something that I was really scared of because, your hobby's your hobby for a reason. Devon and Sean and Jonathan and me and Matt and everybody who's been on this show hasn't done this to get paid. I know that's hard to believe. I know it's really hard to believe that, when Porsche outside says different. No, hell no. I don't have a Porsche outside. But I did have a Beamer at one point while I was out here. It was a 95. But no, it's, we do it because we love it. And something I'm very scared of. Not really scared, but I need to be cautious of is that if I'm running a business like you said, I don't want this to turn into something I resent because I pour a lot of into it and then it fucking disappears. And then, something else is like, people have been very supportive of me doing this. But if it turns me into like, oh, it's Rob, he couch surfs now because he lost everything. Like they're going to be resentful. Like, well, he tried doing jiu-jitsu. It was bullshit. You got to be prepared. And that's kind of like why I'm looking at this club I'm running as well as like a good practice, because if I can keep a curriculum going, if I can keep, if I can stay concerned with my students and try to help their lives in whatever way I can, then, the rest follows. But I'm doing it as a volunteer, and it's great, and I love doing it. I love working with the people, and it's probably one of the more rewarding experiences I've had is teaching martial arts, and especially now teaching jiu-jitsu, having people come in who are like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, to like getting first place at a tournament. It was just amazing to me. And if I keep that going, I think I'll be fine. I'm not asking to be like, have the super center that's like a 2-story building with, maybe not at first, but let's build the empire. Let's do that. The evil
I think
empire of Rob Jiu-Jitsu.
I think you have the is that what you're gonna call it, the Empire? Because that's a sick ass name if you
Um,
call it the Empire. But
oh well, there it is. You guys fucking take it. You know what? At the date of this podcast releasing, if I find anybody else who's like makes their gym called the Empire, yeah,
fuck you if you steal
yeah.
that name.
I can't
Dude,
say come be.
Empire Jiu-Jitsu sounds so sick.
There we go. That's it. That's the gym name, Empire Jiu-Jitsu.
Fuck. I think you have the right mindset going into it too, because you already like are obviously like separating the business part and jiu-jitsu part are like completely different. Like you're selling like an environment where people learn jiu-jitsu and you're helping people get in shape, whatever reasons, various reasons, right? But you like already know it's like it's completely different. Where I think some people like are just too stuck on like I'm gonna use jiu-jitsu to make money because basically what we were saying before, right? They don't know how to separate the two,
Yeah.
like kind of thing. Like they're really good at jiu-jitsu, so they think they can make money doing jiu-jitsu when it's not really how it is.
So
You know what I mean? That sounds really weird, but
no, 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 no. It makes sense. I mean, have you been to a martial arts school and you can tell the instructor? It doesn't have to be jujitsu. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. But have you been to a school where you go in and you can tell that the instructor's so fucking distanced from the like art or whatever? I don't give a shit what you teach. If either you love it or you're there just to like make a paycheck, and you can tell, you can really tell, and then it's just like very off-putting. And those of us who've been in a while can tell the person who's like, "Hey, welcome to you know Joe Schmuckatello's karate school. I'm Joe, and this is my karate school. And if you sign up, we'll make all your dreams come true." And then they're just like, "Show me a kick. Awesome. Here's your orange belt, and you're good to go." Like they don't give a shit. You can really tell. And then that's how you get the schools that get like the bad rep. Like unfortunately, Taekwondo got that bad rep as well. Like there is a good amount of schools who give a shit about their students promoting, but it's because of the other ones who are just like, if I just fucking charge them money and they get promoted anyways, they don't give a shit. And then they look like shit. And then that reflects on you. I don't know. Maybe it's just a little pride and work in me or something. I don't know.
no, it's completely true, dude. It's completely true. And that's like the far end of it. But even like the people that they do care about their gym, they just don't, for whatever reason, have the time, like whether they go do seminars, things like. So, perfect example is this. And this isn't like there's a big far of the spectrum, but like for me, I have the idea where I don't compare like businesses, but I do like make almost like informal mock-ups in my head of
Yeah.
what I see going on. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's good for my own knowledge. So like we have a gym in Turlock, and my friend Alex is a beast. Like he has a good resume regardless. So like outside of that, he has a really high retention rate, right? And he's
Yeah.
not a world champion. He's got a really great resume. People they'd be impressed they knew about it, but to the outside world, he don't even market it like that, right? But down the street, like maybe 25 minutes over, my Samir and Kashino, really cool guys. We go train with them. They're world champions. Nogi world, they train all over the world, blah blah blah. But fought everybody, beat everybody too. Those guys have a lower retention rate than we do, and it's not that they don't. It's not that they aren't doing good. They're doing good. You know what I mean? They're good guys, but they travel a lot and they're young and they're still balancing stuff they're learning about running a business. You know what I mean? So they're still doing good. But I look at the retention rate, and even those, for example, like I said, it's not like a comparison. Like, oh, he's doing so much better. It's just that it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's a good example of saying, look at they're learning and they're going to do fine. They're going to keep growing. You know what I mean? But they
Yeah.
have more of a that kind of mindset, and it shows just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it's it's weird. And then there's also gyms around here too, where it's like you were saying, like there's guys that they trained up until purple belt. They didn't want to train anyone else. They just wanted to hurry up and open up their own gym, and they're really not even a purple belt, I would say. And they just kind of open it up, and they got a little bit of a following, but it's just they're just spinning the wheels. People come in, they leave. They come in, they leave. Like
Yeah.
it's all a reflection, I guess.
Yeah. It used to be that you could open a gym at purple and people would be like, holy shit, a purple belt. Like,
Yeah.
Like still like back in the day, I was like, when I started training with Brian Mingy, they're like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm a brown belt. I'm like, what the fuck, a brown belt? Like everybody else here is like blue belts and like I was like, yeah, fucking brown belts, coach. What about that shit? But now it's commonplace. Like if you open a gym, can you do it? Yeah, absolutely, you can do it. It depends on the demographic of the area, right? There's a guy from my hometown. He just got his purple belt, I think like maybe a year ago, and he runs a successful gym in my hometown. Granted, there's not a lot of jujitsu in my hometown, but he's doing good because he's got the demographic. Now, me personally, I'd feel more comfortable if I was at least a brown to open up my own place. And that was another reason I want to take an MMA fight. So now I know like what to expect. I've done some kickboxing. Like I know what to expect. I know what people should expect. But at the same time, I also know what other people want. It's jujitsu's already bad enough at keeping people. The dreaded blue belt curse. Like as soon as you get your blue belt, people are like, "Fuck this shit, I'm leaving." It's already hard enough. Why make it even harder? If you put a giant emphasis on tournaments and people go out there and they don't medal, then it's bad. Like they get devastated. Like I've seen it happen before. I've been part of a school like tournaments are a big thing. Had one guy go with us to a tournament. Everybody got a medal except him. Didn't see him in the class ever again.
Wow.
And he was good. He was
Yeah.
really fucking good. It just wasn't his day. But you need to tell them like it's not the end of the world. If you want to do a tournament, that's cool. Push yourself, see what happens. And if they don't win, they don't win, man. Like you're not supposed to treat them any different. You're supposed to help them. So it's just that's just like another part. But the retention thing, that's the big thing. Like if you really 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 want to help people through martial arts, see that's the thing you got to kind of talk to yourself about. You got to do a little soul searching. Are you here to do martial arts to help people, or are you here to do martial arts because it's the fad and you want to get paid for it? Right? I hear, granted, yes, I hear find a job that you love and then you'll never work a day. Yeah, good. That's great and everything, right? There is some work you have to do, unfortunately. Like, I can't just show up and do jujitsu class if I open up my own school. We already covered that. But you do need to figure out whether you're trying to help people with what you want to do in the school or you're just trying to ride the wave right now. Because let's face it, it's kind of, it looks a lot like skateboarding. We've talked about this before too. We're starting to hit that point where it's like where skateboarding was like just fucking huge, and people are like open up parks left and right. I don't know if it's like, I don't know what the current level of popularity is, but if we hit that point and we just fucking go nuts with it like they did in skateboarding, then we're gonna see a huge drop off, and just we're gonna go back to like the dark ages again, almost with it. So it just if we have too many people like, well, jiu-jitsu is the big thing. Let me do like this fucking 40-hour class. I'm certified to teach jiu-jitsu. Then we're gonna run the same problems Taekwondo had, karate had, skateboarding, just name it. Anything that peaked and then just dropped off.
I kind of see this is going to sound like crazy, and I'm not trying to like reach for this, but this is just
No.
like what I see too. I feel like opening up a gym is the first step into like I think if like it's like different, I guess, because everyone's goals are different, but what I see where jiu-jitsu is going, I think everyone's working towards some type of certification. And my reasoning is because like so I don't like the Gracie University, but I get why they're doing it and I didn't see it for a little bit, but now I get it. It's a stepping stone because they're gonna have some combative certification or some security certification. They're just using this to get their names like mainstream, right? Through the internet, blah blah blah. My friend Dave, he goes and he works with like people in the military and helps like he learns their tactics in regards to stuff and he helps their hand to hand combative situations. They brainstorm and they come up with some plan where they can, have some hybrid jerry solution to problems. Um, and I'm starting to see he's going to have eventually, from what I'm seeing, he's going to have a certification as well. I don't know what it's going to be in regards to, but it's going to be something like that. So I think the big picture, like if you're going to have a gym, know what your goal is. If your goal is to have like a big business, don't have the intentions of the gym. Don't have the intentions of opening up like 5 gyms. Have the intentions of the gym being your springboard to expand into other ideas. Or just be realistic with yourself and say, hey, you know what? Like success is all like subjective. I'd be happy to open up a gym. I want to follow my effort into a gym and helping people and doing this and that. You know what I mean? But I think being conscious of where like jujitsu is going helps a lot, and I see jujitsu going in the realm of let's get some certifications out and expand
Yeah.
past just the martial art and sports aspect.
No, I mean you are right, and as much as I don't like I have a guy in my class who pushes Gracie University a lot, and I'm just like, I just don't like the way it's, like it's all the same shit I teach anyways, or like people teach, but it's a giant argument that doesn't need to be had, in my opinion. But the blue belt certification online, how they went away from that, like if you have a curriculum, I think that's perfect. You need a curriculum. You need to make sure you're hitting all of the points. But certification, that is something interesting. I mean, there are plenty of places out there that will certify you, as we, you know. But I have a purple belt certificate signed by Andre. I mean, it shows me that I have a purple belt. And, but I don't know. Like, that is kind of an interesting thing to look at. Like, wouldn't the certification for the belt be enough, or if they want to focus on something else? Like, I would like to, depending upon how the empire goes, have a women's only class, or like, of course, gotta have a kids program, or women's self defense, kickboxing. I don't have a certification program I could pull out of, but I mean that is actually like a really interesting aspect to look at.
What I see is the jujitsu gyms that are successful run it off the same blueprint as a fitness club. Like they kind of go like their imagery of each other. So the same, I kind of feel like the same way that like guys get their kinesiology or biomechanics degree or whatever, when they saw people, 15 years ago say, "Oh, what the fuck is a NASM certification? What is an ACE personal training certification? I went to
Yeah,
school for this shit." Like, and it's the truth. You go to school, you know your shit. Same thing if you do jujitsu, you know your shit. If you get a Gracie University, certification, I'm not saying you don't know your shit. It's more suspect than someone who's actually went through it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So that's kind of where I see the direction. That's kind of like the imagery that I'm seeing.
yeah. Fuck. Well,
It's an odd place. It's an odd place to be.
it is, and it's kind of cool at the same time because you get to see like all this like innovation and shit. Like it's a little different now, especially with how easy it is to get on the internet and find shit or find resources or connect with people. It was never like that before. Like, you and I do a fucking Brazilian Jiu Jitsu podcast. We've never met in person.
That's the craziest thing, right?
Yeah, figure
I
that
forget
shit.
that all the time.
Yeah, it's still like, it was like, oh, it's Devon. Where'd you all meet? Like, well, he was like on our show once, and he's like, we're friends. Have you met? No, I've never met the guy.
No, never, not yet, no.
He could stab you when you guys meet and be like, that'd be a fucking cool story to finish
It'd
it
be a
out.
crazy ass episode for the next one.
Devin fucking stabbed me last week when we went on trip, so we're gonna keep it going. I'm running out of co-hosts. We're just gonna keep it going. No,
Oh shit.
no, but it's still like it's so easily accessible. Like Jason Scully's online grappling guide, fucking amazing. I love reading through all that shit. It's so awesome. And then
He has some great stuff.
he does. The guy's a fucking genius. But it's just now it's a little different. I feel like you said, certification probably will be the way of the future. And if somebody does it right and somebody markets it well, and I mean we're already seeing some other stuff. Like, to me, I think the biggest thing that concerns me about some of the online certification stuff is because, I mean, getting back to that subject, is because I see it very similar to some other. No, I'm not going to name the organization, but a Taekwondo organization I was a part of did a ground fighting certification. And if you wanted to get certified to teach ground fighting / jujitsu, I did, what was it, a 4-day class to be certified to teach jujitsu. Now, granted, I was like a fucking no stripe white. It was like 1 or 2. I don't know. I was a shitty white belt. I've told this story before, but like a shitty white belt, I went in there and guy was like, "You want to roll?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "What level are you?" I'm like, "Well, I haven't even certified yet." And he's like, "Well, I'm level 2." I beat the fuck out of him. And it's just like, it's the same, like, you have to be careful with the certification process, because if you do that, like, 4 days of jujitsu and you've never fucking done jujitsu does not make you a jujitsu instructor. I hate to break that to you. Why is that okay? Why is that all right? Like, where in the fucking crazy world, right? All right, Devin, you got 4 days. I'm going to give you a crash course in being a lawyer. Then you can fucking run your practice all day long. You see? Like, or even better, Devin, 4-day crash course on heart surgery. You perform surgery on Monday. Like, what the fuck? Maybe it'd work. I bet you would get people who just pick it up real quick, but that's the exception, not the rule. And that is so fucking dangerous.
It is very dangerous. The cool thing about it is that jiu-jitsu will grow as far as like people knowing about it, and it will weed out a lot of people because it's one of those things where you can't lie about that shit.
Yeah,
You get exposed. That's the awesome thing about it, right? Is that like eventually those people will be exposed. They're gonna be around people like you, like back in the day, who's a white belt that will just go beat the shit out of them real quick.
Yeah, it's easy, man. Like, well, I did like really a lot of jiu-jitsu. Like, all right, well, let's roll. Oh, my back hurts real bad. Okay, your back hurts real bad.
Oh
That's
yeah.
right.
The guys that are rolling their shoulders
Yeah,
like,
oh,
sit this one out.
I haven't done this in like 17 years. Like, okay, that's great. What Gracie did you train under? I don't remember. Like, thumbs up, dude. You don't fucking remember. That's great. Jesus. And then I don't know, like fucking people, like, well, I'm just really strong and I'm crazy and I wouldn't tap out. Like, it's the same shit. It's the same shit, except now people are just gonna be like, yeah, I did jiu-jitsu. Like stolen Fowler jiu-jitsu is commonplace now. It's hilarious. It was like combined two things I'm aware of: people fucking pretending to be in the army or the military, and people pretending to do jiu-jitsu.
Are there a lot of people that do that shit? To pretend to be in the military?
I've run into a few, but it's just kind of
yeah, I've heard about that.
It's like, to me, does it piss me off? A little bit. It depends, man. But like,
It would piss me off, honestly. And I'm not even in the military.
it depends. Like I said, it depends. So if I'm like, look, my name's Rob. I was a Navy SEAL, and I need all this money. Hook me up with money because I'm Navy SEAL. And then they're like, no, this fucker was in the Army. It was never a Navy SEAL. Like, that type of shit pisses me off because now you're taking advantage of people. But if you're sitting at the bar and the guy's like, yep, I was here's a good story. I was part of Spec Ops, and I jumped out of B-2 bombers, by myself doing halo jumps, and I'm like, nah, it doesn't sound right, dude. It really does not.
It wasn't. Did you just tell me the loading screen for Call of Duty on the campaign? What the fuck? Like, you know what I mean?
Did you work with the SAS, fucker? Is your name Soap? All right, no, dude, you're not. No, just knock it off, dude. Seriously, like crazy shit. Like he went through so there's a course called SEER, and pretty much what's supposed to teach you is how to not get captured, and if you get captured, how to resist interrogation, how to escape. And he was like, I didn't realize I was in the training scenario, and I like broke 3 guys' arms. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Them dudes would fuck you up, man. No, you didn't. Please calm down.
That shit's hilarious. Kid at the bars here that used to say he was in the military, but what he did is he got he basically enlisted, but then he got hurt through like boot camp, and then he just didn't even finish boot camp, and he came back, and he told everyone he never lied, I guess, but he built it up. He's like, yeah, like I went away, blah blah blah, this shit.
Yeah, we had a kid. That.
We all knew the story, but
yeah, we had a kid like that back home. It's like, dude, he's always in his Marine shirt. Like, didn't you wash out of boot camp like week 4? Like, shut the fuck up. Like, how do you still have a cat card or like your ID card? You should turn that shit back in. Fucking nerd. Holy shit. Anyway, so I think that was a good note to end it on, just talking shit about people. But before we head out, you got anything you want to leave our listeners with?
Everybody, I'm going to start being on Periscope again regularly on Wednesday nights. We are also live streaming on the big Jiu-Jitsu page. Me and Robert are going to be switching off, doing our thing. And also, we're going to start getting more regular with these episodes. Follow me on everything. I am Symphony, Twitter, Instagram. You guys already know the deal if you listen to the episodes.
Oh, yeah.
And Rob, that's what I got.
Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow's my live stream day on the big Jiu-Jitsu page, so it'll definitely be between 8 and 12 East Coast time. So I'm going to be up late as shit. Hope you all enjoy it. No, it's fine. I like doing it. Love talking to the listeners. They're fucking awesome. But don't forget that Oh, excuse me, my coffee's exploding out of me again. But so don't forget, we're a member of the Podbros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com and listen to some other podcasts you might like. Check out our sponsors, Trap and Roll, Soap Company, as well as Tape Armor, and find all of our old episodes on bjjshow.com. I'm Rob.
I'm Devin.
We'll catch you guys next time.